If your to-do list has 57 items on it, let me be blunt, you are a mess. It's even worse if that list has no defined starting point, if you don't know what's the most important thing to tackle first. The reality is, this is how many real estate agents live their lives. We go from one task to another without any real focus or direction or clarity or purpose. Well, the good news is that ends today. I'm Lee Raven with REinvest Real Estate. We help real estate agents go from production to legacy. And today I'm presenting you with the 4 Ds of decision making. They are a decision making filter which will help you look at all of your tasks and get a feeling for what actually needs to get done and help you prioritize the work that's in front of you. The 4 Ds are really simple, and I believe that I stole this method from the book Getting Things Done, actually. So it's been around for a long time. I can't take credit for it, but I have brought it into the real estate space with great effect. It's extremely simple. Anytime a task comes in, you ask yourself, is this a task that I do right now? Do I defer it? Do I delete it? Or do I delegate it? And that decision-making filter can be applied at any time of your day or week. In fact, it's something that I use multiple times per day to ensure that I'm staying efficient and on task. You see, the reality is, as a real estate agent, you can't do all the work yourself. You shouldn't, frankly. And there's work that comes to you that you should just not even do in the first place. All right, so let's get right into the model. Again, the 4 Ds are do, delete, defer, and delegate. And I'm going to present these to you in my preferred order, meaning the way that I like to approach things. My favorite thing when it comes to managing tasks is deleting. I think that too many people overlook this critical step when they're building their to-do lists. It seems like every email that comes in has some level of importance, and people hang on to them far longer than they want to. I've met so many agents that have inboxes that are in the multiple thousands, and to me that just stresses me out. While your inbox is not a to-do list, it is sort of a force that weighs on you. And the more clutter you have in there, the more junk, the worse it's going to become. So I strongly encourage you to go through your inbox and any type of collection space that you have and delete or throw out things that don't serve you. The email from the lender 2 months ago giving you an update on rates and the economy, not only is that not something you're going to read because you haven't read it in the last 2 months, it's not even relevant now. It's outdated. Take a look at the people that are sending you messages. Ask yourself, do I want to even get this stuff or not? And go ahead and unsubscribe from people. I do this with tasks as well. Sometimes I'll have a task that's been on my list for months and I haven't done anything to move the ball forward on that project. Well, the reality is something that seemed like a good idea a few months ago, but isn't a good idea now, shouldn't really even be on my plate. It shouldn't be a task that I look at and move forward week after week after week. All that's doing is stressing me out about this one idea that I had that I thought was good at the time, but clearly it wasn't good enough, or I would have just done it already. So with tasks like that, I like to house them in a separate section of my to-do list software. I call it the parking lot. I move anything that I think I could want at some point, but that I don't want to look at often, to the parking lot, and I try to review that list quarterly. That ensures that things don't get missed, but that I'm also not looking at junk day in and day out. My second favorite D on the list is delegate, because simply I like when things get done without me having to do them. It should go without saying that somebody who's properly busy, who finds this video interesting, is somebody who needs leverage in some type of way. We have other videos we put out about leverage and how to get it into your life, so I won't waste too much time on the specifics, but I will just give a high level as it relates to managing your to-do list. When I'm looking at my to-do list, I always ask myself 2 things. 1, am I the best person to do this task? And 2, do I have to do this task? Or in other words, is this somebody else's responsibility? There are several areas of responsibility overall that I've delegated to different people. I have a transaction coordinator that manages everything about the transaction once we're under contract. I have a listing coordinator that takes over once the listing paperwork is signed. If there's anything that falls into somebody else's world, I make sure that they're involved. I email it to them, I CC the person that sent it to me, and I explain, hey, please include Annie in all future emails about transactions. She'll make sure that things handled faster than I can. Now, that's cut and dry when you have a team. It becomes very simple to look at somebody's job description or task list and know, hey, what's yours and what's this other person's. It's a little bit harder when it comes to partnerships or other situations that are a little bit more ambiguous. This is where I like to ask myself, am I the best person to do this particular task? If I'm working on a flip or a renovation, I'll often take on work that isn't mine to begin with. We have our work very clearly split. My partner Rob does all the construction stuff and I do everything else. And a lot of times I'll get into making a construction budget and I'll break it down by trade, only to realize that I'm not the best person to do that. And it's also not my work, meaning I'm not the one that's going to manage that and own the end result. So it doesn't make sense for me to be the person that's starting the work in the first place. The third D on the list is defer. Now, defer is a fancy word for schedule. I think they use that word so that way it's a nice 4D model. I would just call this schedule or time blocking. If there's a task that comes to me that requires a significant amount of time, more than a couple minutes, I'm going to make sure that that has its own dedicated place both on my to-do list and also in my calendar. A great example is this. Let's say I'm doing lead generation and I set a listing appointment for 3 days from now. Well, sometime in that time, I'm going to need to do a few things. I'm going to need to send them a pre-listing email, do a CMA, pull together listing documents, but that all doesn't have to happen right now. In fact, it should not happen during the lead generation block of time. So when I set a listing appointment, what I'll do is two things. One, I'll make a quick note to send the pre-listing intro email to the client after I'm done my lead gen session. And two, I'll make a note to do my CMA and listing paperwork sometime in the future. Now, that first task can be completed within a couple minutes, and this actually ties to the fourth D, do. If it's going to take you a minute or less to do, just do it right then. But more on that in a second. That second task of doing the CMA and the pre-listing paperwork, I need to make sure that I have enough time to properly focus on that task and not get distracted. So I want to make sure that I plan that into my week sometime before that listing appointment during a dedicated thought space. All right, the fourth and final D, I already kind of gave it away. Do is for any task that you can do in 2 minutes or less. Now, I saved this one for the end because I want to be very clear that there is no place in a real estate agent's life for task whack-a-mole, meaning I do not recommend that every task that comes in that's going to take you 2 minutes or less, that you do it right away. You just kind of are all over the board doing things that are non-important. That's what ends up happening, is if you end up just reacting to everything that comes in, you're going to end up with a lot of unimportant tasks. The example that I gave of lead generating and setting a listing appointment is actually the best example I can possibly think of for this do topic. Like I said before, when I set that appointment, I know I need to send a pre-listing email, but that's only going to take me a minute or two. So that's something that's worth just doing and taking care of right away. I wouldn't want that to be on a to-do list for multiple days, because at the end of the day, you're just going to look sloppy and unprofessional if you end up setting an appointment on a Monday and setting the pre-listing appointment on a Thursday that has a survey that you need for Friday. You want to make sure that gets done on Monday, right? So why not take care of things that only require 2 minutes or less of your time in a timely fashion? So that's it for the 4 Ds, guys. It's a simple decision-making model that will help you keep your work organized and help keep you on priority. It'll ensure that you have the right amount of time to do each task and that you're in the right headspace or physical location for the work that you're setting out to do. As a reminder, I'm Lee Raven with REinvest Real Estate. We help real estate agents all the time for free in our Skool community. Go to Skool.com and search for REinvest Real Estate, and you'll find a robust community of real estate agents that are giving back freely to people from all different brokerages and backgrounds. We have tons of free tools in there. And of course, if this video was helpful, make sure you like and subscribe. See you next week.